Well, hello there, friends, and welcome to Virtual Strangers 80. I'm your host, Wes. With me, as always, my good friend Roots. Roots, 80 episodes, brother, and what a special episode we've got lined up today.
I know. You know what's funny is as you said that number at like it just hit me. 80, man. That's a long time. It's a lot of weeks. A lot of I was just trying to figure out how many hours we did. What's the they say that once you've done something for a few hundred hours, you become an expert at it, right? I
I
think
got to
we're
think that between all of the Virtual Strangers shows and all of the Monday shows, and then all of the like streams and the Let's Plays, I would consider us at least nearing expert level here.
yeah, well, I always room to improve, but I definitely agree. I feel like things are good, you know.
Well, the
Really
important
like
thing is, we don't have to present ourselves as expert, content creators. Obviously, we're far from expert content creators, but what we are experts at is virtual reality because I would put up our knowledge and skill in that arena up against anyone in the world.
Oh, well, I agree. And there's a lot of people in the chat. Gamer Chick, Jarillo Hussein, Jim Hall. Jim Hall says 10,000 hours. So we're not nearing expert level. I don't know how many. I mean, that's a lot of hours, man. Holy shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're on our way.
Yeah. Well, maybe we're semi-experts. What's the semi-expert level, Jim? Like, where's
Yeah,
that?
we're just above novice.
Yeah.
I would say we're maybe at the proficiency level again as content creators, but as VR gamers, I would put us a little higher on the totem pole.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm a little bit psyched today too, Wes, because I'm starting to finally learn a lesson on taming the shrew. I know my shrew is my beard. Beard oil. I put the beard oil in, man. Because my beard is growing hairs that never grew before, and they want to go all directions. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've never been a beardsman to the point of buying product for it, but my beard generally stems from laziness.
Yeah, well, I had no choice. It was like all weird. Like it's still a little weird, but I'm enjoying it. So this winter, I expect my face to be very, very warm and cozy. So
Yeah, let me ask you, man, have you been getting much sleep? Because I know I haven't.
no, and it's all self-deprived. Um, the all the Quest stuff, man. Not only the games that I can play standalone, but the PC games wirelessly for me is I can't get enough. I just want to walk around my space and spin around like I'm a ballet person. Well, maybe not ballet, but man, it's just so cool to not have that tether. And what we were talking about with I guess it was Drillo that was talking about it and said Roots finally figured out the goodness of wireless VR, and I really have. And it's not the biggest thing I didn't expect, Wes. I expected it to be with all the standalone games. I totally expected that. I didn't expect Virtual Desktop to be so good that I'm ready to get rid of my Rift S. I'm ready to throw it out the well, maybe not throw it out the window, but I'm ready to get some money from it. So
Well, that's the cool thing about this, right? Because like for you, the big thing is wireless tethering. For someone else, it might be the standalone. For another person, it might be the media consumption and the social platform. Uh, you know, it's not a perfect device by any means, but I think that it's easily the most versatile, and I think it's pretty safe to say that no matter what angle you're coming at it from, there's something here for everyone.
yeah, well, almost everyone, because there is that small portion of people that have already decided the Quest poo is shit. And no matter what you say, I'm not even gonna try it. It's a piece of crap. And it's bizarre to me because just try it like Mamefan and decide that you don't like it. Everybody has a different face, Wes. And I'll tell you what, my face really likes the Quest 2. It's made for me. It seems anyway. I don't know.
Okay, so Quest 2 obviously going to be the topic of the day and probably the topic of the month, and we are about to deep dive on that. So much to talk about, but before we get there, I want to start as we always do by saying what's up to the chat. Onikazi's in the house, as is Darillo. Paradise Decay, what's up, buddy? Factory Life, Gamer Chick 13, hello, hello. Greg's VR, Delirium Drew. Looks like Drew's, much like me, been playing games instead of sleeping. Void Citizen, Swift Silent Deadly. I got it right again, Roots. Swift Silent Deadly in the house. Phil Yarn, Factory Life. Everybody, Jim Hall. Everyone has come to get our thoughts on the Quest Roots. But first, I've got some business that needs tending to. Um, I want to do a viewer question. We had a question in one of the comments a couple of weeks ago, and I fully intended on answering it during last week's episodes, but it completely slipped my mind. So I wanted to just do this right off the top. So not only so I don't forget again, but it's a question that's very much pertinent to the topic at hand today. It's a very big part of what we're going to be talking about with the Quest 2 here. And I'll just go ahead and read the question off verbatim. This is from a comment on the Monday Show 58, so 2 weeks ago, and it's from the viewer Mr. Chip. So what's up, Mr. Chip? I hope that you're watching this and not too mad at me for not answering it last week. All right, so here we go. It says, "Can you talk about super sampling next show? I consider myself pretty tech savvy, and I have no clue what you're talking about and why I'd want to do it." Well, I get why, but you mentioned Oculus Tray Tool, Quest presets, etc. I'd love it if you just go through that. I trust you guys, and the 100 videos on YouTube all seem sketchy to me and are really hard to follow. So thanks so much, and I cannot wait for my Quest 2. So, Roots, we often take for granted on this show, and we kind of uh, talk about things on a certain level, and we kind of assume that everyone's kind of in the loop when it comes to certain things regarding virtual reality, and we forget that, especially in times like right now, that we have a lot of new people coming in, and they don't know all the ins and outs, all the little tricks you can do. And I can remember when I was new to VR, I didn't super sample anything for the entire first year that I was on PCVR. And it was mainly because I didn't know what it was. I always assumed that it was something technical and difficult. And when I finally realized just how easy it is and what a big game changer it is, I felt kind of foolish for not looking into it sooner.
Yeah, well, it's one of the biggest game changers. It's one of the things that blew me away when I heard Anthony. It was like, oh, I've never super sampled. Even like he did his new computer build and then still didn't do super sample, right? He got the 1080 Ti, and like that's the beauty. Once you get those video cards that can actually push the game, the software, the hardware, everything to just run better and look better, it's a game changer. So
Okay, so for those of you who don't know what super sampling is and what it does, well, first of all, what it does in effect is it allows you to leverage all of the power of your PC, all of that CPU power, all of that GPU power that you paid for when you built your PC or bought your PC. It's kind of going to waste if you're not doing things like super sampling. And what super sampling is, in effect, is uh, setting the game to render at a higher resolution than the resolution of your display, your headset, or even your monitor. Uh, all of our screens have a set resolution, and the software by default will set the game to render at that resolution. But by going in and changing just a setting or two, you can tell your computer to render the game, render the video feed at a higher resolution than is supported by your display. And you wouldn't think that you would notice much of a difference. You know, your display having a set limit to its resolution, but for every pixel there are subpixels, and you can absolutely tell a big difference in sharpness and detail when you super sample. And for the use case Well, I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're using Oculus or you're using Steam VR. The process is pretty much the same in both, although you're using different tools to achieve it.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're definitely different tools and they're different approaches as well. I'm not sure if Steam VR is the same way, but from what I've heard, the Oculus tray tool has to be open first, and then you open up the Oculus app. Otherwise, people have said that it won't work, or it doesn't apply it to it. I didn't know that for a long time either, and maybe that's not true, and I'm mishearing what people said. But it's definitely a game changer for sure. Even in the standalone, man, like we were just talking about that. You know, some of the things we've tried, and I don't know, man. It's just crazy.
Yeah, and so the context of the question was in light of the Oculus Quest 2. So we'll get to that really quickly. You can do this for any PC VR game, whether it be VR or not. But uh, as far as VR goes, when you're running Steam VR in Steam, you can open up the settings, click on the video settings, and you'll see a slider there, and it'll show what resolution you're running at. All you have to do is move that slider and you're done. You do not have to restart like you do in Oculus. It's in real time in Steam, and you can actually do it while you're playing the game and have the effect uh, take place immediately. So you can actually check it while you're in game. And the whole thing to setting your super sampling value is you want to find that ceiling. You want to push it as far as you can without any negative performance issues. So if you start to see stutters or reprojection or video artifacts while you're playing, you want to dial it back a little bit. You've taken it a little too far. So you just want to move it up a little bit at a time until you hit your ceiling. Now with Oculus, enable to in order to be able to super sample, you have to download and install an extra tool, and this is called the Oculus Tray Tool. If you search the term Oculus Tray Tool in Google, it will point you to a Reddit page with a download link. It's probably the top result that you'll get, and you just download and install the Oculus Tray Tool. And under the General Settings tab, all of your tabs are on the left-hand side. The very top one is the General Settings, and the very first thing on there is your super sampling percentage, and you can set it to 1.1, 1.2. Obviously, 1.0 is your native resolution, and it goes in increments of 10%. So 1.1 would be 110%, 1.2, 120%, and so on and so forth. You just select your value that you want to try out in game. And again, as Roots said, you'll want to restart the Oculus client after you save that. So you'll close it out and reopen it. Now, this is true for Oculus Rift as well as Oculus Quest. But if you're using Oculus Quest or Oculus Quest 2, there are some additional steps that you're going to want to take. You'll notice one of the tabs on the left says Oculus Link. So if you'll just click on that, it will show you some graphical quality presets that are set up for your graphics card level. Basically, it's as easy as clicking a drop down menu, selecting what graphics card that you're running on, click it, and then you click save and restart, and it'll restart the Oculus program for you. And that's all there is to it. You're all set. You're ready to play, and it's a game changer as far as the visuals go. It makes a big difference in how the games look inside the headset, especially when it comes to Oculus Quest 2 or Oculus Quest 1. Uh, Especially with the Quest 1, I wasn't very happy with how games looked in Link until I started super sampling and setting the settings in Oculus Tray Tool. It made a world of difference. And if you're using Oculus Link on either headset and you're not super sampling, then you're not really giving yourself the full experience.
Yeah, I agree. And it definitely is something to try. Now, one thing that you, I guess, didn't mention is that it's not only for super sampling, that Oculus Tray Tool, right? They've got different settings. You can do a performance check. You set it to performance. It'll literally give you a meter inside your headset so you can see how it's performing. And then you have a better idea of whether you need to, go up a notch or kick it back one. Same thing with Steam VR, except for you got to get FPS VR, which I think that's free, which I like it. I mean, it's good to have either. I like to see how everything's running. And it gives you a better idea of where your frames are as well. So
Yeah, that's very true. If you're someone who wants to get very detailed about how the settings affect your performance, there are absolutely tools available to do that. I tend to eyeball it most of the time. My whole philosophy on it is if I can't notice it without the meter, then I don't need the meter. It's fine, right? So to each their own. Roots is a lot more analytical with it than I am, but we can both agree on the importance of using these tools.
yeah, GamerChick13 says, Scion VR's the argument he's having about the CV1 reminds her of people making the case for still having flip phones while the rest of us have smartphones. And that's exactly how I feel. You got so many excuses to not move on. Just try it, bro. You might be amazed. You might be like, oh my God, I should have gotten this a year ago. When I got the Rift S alone and then stepped back and then came back, I couldn't have had more of an appreciation for how good that headset looked than when I stepped back to CV1, you know?
Yeah,
And
and let's it is kind of funny. It seems like some of the most vocal naysayers of the Oculus Quest 2 uh, tend to be people who haven't tried it. And I don't particularly want to call Scion out by name, but since we're already talking about it, um, I mean, just let's just be honest. Compared to modern headsets, not just Quest 2, but Rift S or any of them, I mean, the display in that headset's garbage, man. I mean, they call it screen door effect, but it's more like a chain link fence effect compared to what we've got today. And I mean, I get it. A lot of people value perfect tracking, but I would, I mean, my tracking's been pretty perfect, right?
yeah, mine's perfect. And that was the thing. People said the Quest 2's tracking is worse than the Rift S. It's worse than the Quest 1, Wes. So far, I've not had one hitch. Now, granted, I haven't been passing shit behind my head and doing all the weird stuff that everybody's always freaking out about. But everything I've tried and played, and I mean every single thing, the tracking's been 100% perfect. And I'll tell you what, anybody that says that the CV1 tracking is perfect is full of shit, man. The USBs, you're gonna get hitches. You get hitches sometimes, man. It's just the way it works. I
When
had
they
it
work, right? When they work,
when they
because it's
work.
not like they always work either.
Yeah, I had the CV1 for long enough to know it's not perfect. It's 99% perfect or 98, but it's not Valve Index perfect. You know what I mean? It's
And,
not. It's just not.
and there's a general misconception here too when with regards to tracking things behind your head and behind your back. The algorithm actually tracks things pretty well, passing them behind your head and behind your back. It's only when you hold them there, when you hide things behind your head and behind your back, that it loses it after a few seconds. If you're just passing things, it's seamless.
Right.
It really is. Um, but that's beside the point. I mean, how many applications in VR do you actually do that in? I would argue that it's very few. But when you talk about resolution, when you talk about being able to read things clearly in VR, I mean talk about a headache. Try to read something in the CV1. That'll give you a headache.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true, true. Yeah, and that's the thing is it looks so clear in the Quest 2. And Mamefan makes a good point. I guess the index tracking is not perfect. I've never tried base station tracking. I just know they say it's better than any tracking that's existed. You know what I mean? And people when it was attached to HTC, people raved about it. So now that it's an index tracking, it's not perfect. But I
Yeah.
agree, it isn't perfect, but it's way more perfect than CV1 with the USBs. That was everyone agrees that was not the best uh, way to do it. You know what I mean? And Oculus has moved away from it for a reason. So
Well, that's the thing. I can't really talk on base station tracking because I've never tried it. And I think that that's kind of the lesson here, and kind of the
Yeah.
point of what we're saying here is, don't judge something before you try it. And I would, I, I would I would implore people, it's finally here. The technology is finally reached a certain point, and the price level has also reached a certain point. This is accessible technology. We're not talking about going out there and laying down $1,000
Mm.
on a new kit, not even close. And if you're watching this, by the way, anybody that's watching this that have purchased or a Quest 2, you're still within your return window. Anybody, if you don't like it, take it back. By all means, you can still do that. You can still get a full refund, and you'll be no worse for wear. And your words will hold a lot more weight in these discussions, having actually tried it for yourself.
Yeah. Well, Girillo says it's not fair talking about the CV1 and OG Vive resolution compared to it, but in this context, it's very fair because
Yeah.
Cyan's holding on to this thing with like like he's on a ledge and about to fall off and die. And so he's settling for that screen door effect versus what's out there, even the Rift S or especially the Quest 2, man. There is almost no, if not no, screen door effect. It's just the best screen I've ever looked at. So much so that my jaw dropped when I clicked in the YouTube app of all things. I watched a fucking commercial come across and I thought, oh my God, that looks amazing. I couldn't believe because a lot of what I'm doing with the Quest 2, especially, as I am a first time Quest user, I'm putting myself in that Quest user, first person's experience. Especially, I'm trying to put my mind in the person that's never seen VR. They've heard VR forever. When you went to the Quest 1, they could have gone into the YouTube app. And what did people say? It doesn't look as sharp as my regular TV. It's cool, but it's not as sharp. Facebook did it this time. They made it look fucking sharp. It looks really good. And some of that YouTube video, if it's filmed right, the 360 videos that I tried, some of them were phenomenal. And so I think people are discounting the difference in just the effect that's going to have. You're getting a lot of new people into VR and they need to be blown away. The Quest 1 didn't blow a lot of people away because it wasn't sharp enough, I don't believe. So
Well, no, not only, I mean, it had a good resolution, the original Quest, but it was also pentile display, meaning that for every pixel, there was only two subpixels, and they're arranged in such a way that the gap between the pixels was much more visible. We have now moved on to an LCD display, which is full RGB arrangement, meaning that it's much harder to discern where the pixels are. You kind of have to look for them. And, I know some people are the type that will look for flaws when they put the headset on, but I'm not that type. I'm generally an enthusiast, and I'm not going into any experience with new hardware looking for flaws. I will tell you the flaws that I encounter, but that's not my intention. I don't go in there looking for flaws. And have I noticed any screen door effect? No, not really. But again, I haven't been looking for it either.
yeah. Well, I haven't. I've looked and I haven't really seen it myself, but I've just been blown away by almost everything in this. I mean, my one gripe about the Quest 2 is the legitimate gripe that we should all be having, which is Facebook and privacy and all the weirdness around that. That's the only thing that I have an issue with on this headset. Everything else for me has been an upgrade. Like I don't know if everybody knows this about me, but I am a 63 apparently, I guess. I don't know. I was reading an article that says that it's different closer versus further away. I don't know shit about IPD anymore as far as I know, but it's super clear in the middle and my eyes are so close to it that I notice a discernible increase in field of view. I know that's a controversial subject. Some people say it's bullshit. Some people say absolutely Quest is bigger than a Rift S. For me, I have bigger field of view. I can just tell. And so like it's just been good.
Yeah, and we are going to address every aspect of this new hardware, including the big blue elephant in the room. Facebook. But first, I want to dive a little deeper on these visuals because there are different things that you can do in a headset, and there are different modes. First of all and foremost, this is a standalone VR device. Its main use is meant to be used untethered, unconnected to anything. Just put it on and either play games or view media or what have you. Um, the display in it, um, I would say that it's probably a little, well, yeah, uh, terms like a little or a lot are kind of relative. It's definitely a lot crisper and more clear than, say, the Oculus Rift S. Um, I would say that the Rift S uh, might be a little bit brighter. They're pretty close in terms of brightness and contrast, and like the colors. I would give Quest One probably a little bit of edge on in this department on colors, but this device absolutely smashes Quest One in terms of or clarity and detail. So just from the first time that you put the headset on, Roots, it's kind of you're kind of taken aback at just how clear and resolute things are.
Yeah, I wish I had seen the Quest One. I'd have a little bit more appreciation for the leap, as far as that goes as well. At least the standalone version. So, but yeah, it looks really good. It's the best display I've ever looked through, and it's one of the best on the market too. Man, people forget like the technology that's in this thing. Um, it's not. It should be more than $300. Let's put it that way. So.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. Um, upon trying this, I did have a little bit of an issue with. I think it's mainly caused by the very different way that the lenses are built into the headset with this product. Uh, in previous headsets, the lenses are kind of flush to the main body of the unit, but due to the different IPD slider or adjustment in this headset, these lenses kind of rest in these two eye barrels that are inside the headset. And when I initially tried it, I was a little bit disappointed with what I thought was more God rays and glare than I had noticed in Oculus Rift S and Oculus Quest. I kind of thought that we had moved past God rays, but here they were again, rearing their ugly head. Not only that, but when you set the IPD all the way out to 3, the widest setting, you can notice these straight edges in your periphery. And what I thought was the edge of the screen, but I'm not so sure anymore because if I close my eyes, like close one eye and look at it, try to look at it directly, you don't see it on either side. To notice it, you have to have both eyes open, looking straight ahead, and then you'll notice these straight edges, which again I thought was the sides of the screen. So right off the bat, I noticed these two kind of negative things about it. But as I was adjusting for comfort a little bit later in the play session, I wanted to relieve a little bit of the pressure off of my face, so I kind of grabbed the headset and just pulled it away, just ever so slightly, not away from so that it wasn't touching my face anymore, but just enough to relieve some of the pressure. And I noticed when I was doing this that everything all of a sudden became crystal clear. The straight edges left my peripheral view. All of the God rays vanished, and I came to find out that I think that the lenses were too close to my eyes, Roots.
Mm.
That the way this thing's built with these lens barrels in it actually has the lenses right up to where they're almost touching your eyes. And for my particular face and eyes, that was not a good thing. So what I did was I grabbed the glasses spacer out of the box, which adds just a few millimeters of space in between the headset and your face. And ever since I did that, everything has been perfect, crystal clear, no more weird shape to the field of view, and everything's been great since then.
Wow, that's crazy, man. I never even thought about that. But you know what's weird is because you're 68, right? You had to go to the 68 thing. So I'm a 63, and I didn't have to pull that away. So maybe that's the workaround. If you're on that extreme, either one side or the other, try the glass spacers, like Wes said. Get your face a little bit further away, because that would make sense, right? Like if you have that thing and it's so far over, you move a little bit further away, and now you're not going to see that edge. And that's good that it's crystal clear. I mean, obviously, that is the goal, right? So
Yeah, and I would just say this too is you don't have to put the glasses spacer on to see if this is something that's going to help you. Do what I did. Just grab the headset while you're wearing it, look straight ahead into your field of view, and just relieve the pressure a little bit. Just pull it away just a little bit. And if things sharpen up for you, if the glare and God rays vanish for you the way it did for me, then you'll know that you're in a similar situation to me. And I know you may be concerned that it's going to eat away at your field of view, but the difference in field of view is negligible, and the improvement in clarity for me was significant.
I'm doing it. I don't even care. I'm just gonna try it.
You should
Somebody,
try it.
somebody, I'm gonna try it. Somebody just said VR365 is in the house. I'm looking for him in chat. I even went and realized I wasn't in live chat. So somehow, some way, they psychically knew he's in there. So Anthony, if you're in the house, bro, it's good to see you live for once. And if you're not, then it's a horrible, horrible hoax, and I'm very sad because my heart fluttered a little bit. VR365 is here, bro.
Yeah, I don't see him, Roots. Maybe
Yeah,
I missed him.
yeah, I must have missed
Uh,
him too, but
yeah, he's in the house. He's in his own house.
he's talking to Job. Yeah,
Right.
I think so.
All right. So that's the visuals from a standalone and as well as a general perspective. Um, what has been your experience PC with PC tethering, whether it be through the Oculus Link or virtual desktop?
Well, I started. So I didn't even do the PC at the first couple days. Well, I guess the first day because I was waiting for my link cable to come in, right? And then I got the link in, and I was all excited to hook it up, and it was doing all sorts of weird shit, Wes. I couldn't get it to. I don't know. It was just doing weird stuff, man. And so it ran okay, but it didn't run the best. And then I came to realize that I still had my my Rift S hooked up, and having the Rift S hooked up and then plugging in a different headset having them both at the same time was causing conflicts. Once I unplugged the other headset, which I recommend everybody do, it's just there's no reason to have it there. It ran really well. I was able to crank it up. I guess I didn't know exactly how to do the link. That was my second way of finding out the hard way. I tried to super sample and was like, nah, this isn't working, bro. But I didn't know it had to go through the SideQuest app with that. Well, let me preface this or go back. I did know. You told me. And then I shoved that information to the side, tried it the hard way, and then I said, oh yeah, Wes told me. And so I went back, and once I was fixed that, it was good. So some people saying the Rift S is a little bit better as far as the link goes. That would be probably my what happened to me as well. But we're forgetting the link is in beta still, and just like everything else, I mean, I feel like we have a history and a memory issue in this world right now, Wes. They can't go back to the Quest 1 a month or a year and a half ago and remember the tracking wasn't perfect. Over time they fixed that. You know what I mean? They rolled out, Oculus supports their shit, man. They will perfect it. The Quest link is still in beta, and once it comes out, I guarantee it's going to be perfect, buttery smooth. People love to hear that. So
Yeah, that's another facet that we're going to touch upon here in a few minutes is the support for the platform, which I would describe as ongoing since launch day of Quest 1. They've continually improved the Quest platform. But with terms to the visuals, Quest Link versus Oculus Rift S? How would you? Well, let me ask you this. You know, when you see the naysayers, right, talking about using Quest as a PCVR headset, you always hear them talk about compression artifacts. An artifact being an object, something that you would see that occurs when you're compressing the video feed. Roots, will you please describe to me what a compression artifact looks like?
I can't. I have no idea. I don't know that I've seen it. I mean, I guess from what Mamefan was saying, and this is something I guess you would notice more because he noticed it in Stormland. He said he noticed it more when it was like a far off thing you were looking at in the distance, right? And so maybe in that particular case, you might see a little bit more artifact things. But for me, I can't see it, Wes. Like even without the super sampling, it looks really good. So I'm missing it.
Well, to be clear, my point here is that I've never seen an artifact, not like a thing inside the headset that's being caused by the video compression. With that said, there is definitely a difference. You can see the difference, and you can tell with your naked eye whether or not you're playing a streamed video signal versus a native video signal through a, a channel like HDMI or DisplayPort. Uh, there's a difference. It looks different. Is it bad? Well, I mean, it's different for sure. Um, I would say that the biggest negative side to streaming VR as opposed to native VR is contrast. I would say that there's a little bit less contrast um, when you're playing streaming in the Oculus Quest. I would liken it to something like again going back to the CV1. You know how CV1 kind of has this dullness to everything when you're looking through the lenses of that headset. It's like that, but not to that extent. It's just kind of everything's a little has a little bit less contrast. And the way that you can see this the most easily is when you're streaming a game, no matter what it is, just any game, to your Quest headset, really quickly press the Oculus button 4 or 5 times and let it kick you into the actual Quest menu, not the Rift menu, but the Quest menu that comes from the headset itself. And all of a sudden, you'll notice that everything just quickly brightens up and sharpens in just a little bit. That's the big difference. And for me, um, again, it's not a big deal to me. It doesn't really take away uh, too much. Certainly, when you consider the fact that the resolution is still all there, the sharpness, the amount of detail in the picture, it's still all there when you're streaming. Again, the biggest difference is just contrast and brightness for me anyway.
Well, the sharpness is even better, right? Like even just reading anything becomes like I like to read stuff now. I'm like pick it up. I'm like wow. Like the biggest thing that I noticed it in Wes was even just on the standalone version of Saints and Sinners. Looking at you flipping that blade around, and you look at the stats and all that stuff. It just looks so clear, and just menus in general just look so much better. And so, yeah, I could see that what you're saying. Maybe it looks a little bit more dull, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, but you get the clarity, you get the sharpness. So it's that trade off, right? And then don't even well, I guess you will get me started on the wireless version of it, going virtual desktop on, it becomes an even bigger conversation about trade offs, right?
Yeah, well, everything's a trade-off. You have to look at the positives and the negatives, add them all together, and discern for you personally. And it's going to be a person-to-person, thing. Everybody has different things that they value. Is it a net positive or is it a net gain? And for me, with the Quest 2, using it as a PC headset, I would call the lack of the lack of contrast versus the gain in resolution a net gain. It still looks better, significantly better than the Oculus Rift S to me. Now, with that said, in a month, I should have the HP Reverb G2 here,
Oh God.
which will give me all of this resolution and the contrast if the reviews are true. So it may not be the case then, but as of right now, the Oculus Quest 2 is the best PC VR headset that I've ever used from a visual standpoint.
Yeah, you better clarify that. People freak out. I mean, you said two things they shouldn't freak out because you said that you've ever used. People will still take that and say, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, index." But yeah, I agree. It's definitely the best headset I've used, and it's. So I would almost say not that I had a lack of interest, but it's reinvigorated my VR playing. You know, like
It's made you an enthusiast again.
yeah, it's like I now I'm wired because that was my biggest thing. Okay, now let's go back a year and a half. Well, TP Cast came out. Vive had their wireless solution. I had a Rift, and I was like, man, I really want to go wireless. So I looked into TP Cast, which is fucking expensive. It was just ridiculous. And then you had all the trade-offs, and you had to buy the special software, and you had to take it apart and re-put it back together and do all sorts of weird shit to do it. And then you had the added benefit of weird lines off to the side and lack of FOV and just different things that, you know, I guess the Vive didn't encounter, but the if I was a Oculus person, I would have had to encounter that, right? So now you fast forward to today, and my experience with wireless VR. Now I will caveat it saying I did go out and buy a Wi-Fi 6 router, and I think that did help. But it's so good that I can't see myself really tethering myself if I have an option. I 99% I want to play wireless. I don't want to tether even the Link I bought. So, you know, it's the trade-off I was waiting for. I want to not have a tether. I want to go downstairs. I went down a floor and still fucking played in death. You know what I mean? Flawlessly, because the Wi-Fi 6 is so good and penetrates that it just, to me, it's the biggest game changer in VR that I've experienced so far. And that's saying a lot.
So see, this is a perfect example of what I've been talking about when I talk about how uh, what we get out of these headsets is a very personal thing to each individual. Um, you know, like most people, Roots here, you know, the wireless tethering is a big deal to him. Uh, for myself, on the other hand, I'm playing when I get home from work. I generally don't want to stand up. I play seated more than half of the time. So, you know, being tethered really isn't a big deal for me. I just throw it over the back of my chair and I don't notice it anyway. But again, a big game changer for Roots here. And I think it's great that it works so well for you. I did try it on my one day off that I've had with the thing. Every other day, um, you know, I've had to work and then come home and play, and I haven't really felt like dealing with troubleshooting after work, you know. But I did try it last Tuesday, and I couldn't get it to run. Not I got it to connect, and again, this is not my first time doing this. I had a Quest 1. I've done it many times. Um, I got it to connect to my PC and stream my PC just fine. But whenever I tried to launch a game in Steam VR, the screen would just go black and stay that way. I would still have audio, but no video for
Hmm.
whatever reason. And again, it wasn't the biggest deal for me anyway. I was just kind of checking it out just to see what it's like. So I haven't gone back in yet to straighten it out and find out what the problem is. Again, not the biggest deal for me.
I just think seeing this is the thing because and Mamefan says in the chat, and I get it because you know he really is the king of having a tether and still doing everything that the non-tethered person would do, spinning whatever. I can't do that. You know, it's always on my mind that it's there, and then just the freedom of it, like games like Unseen Diplomacy, right? I've got that game and I've tried it back with the cord, and it was cool, but I didn't feel like I really had the experience I would have had if I had untethered experience, right? And so what it's done for me, and Mamefan, you should appreciate this the most. It's made me appreciate room scale again. It's made me want to play room scale again. I don't want to play room scale if I've got a fucking thing on my back that's tying me to my computer. I want to walk around and not worry about it. I want to turn like in Death. Okay, this is the perfect example. I've played 50% of in Death of my PC streaming has been in Death, and now I'm using locomotion still to move. But if somebody sneaks up on me, Wes, I'm fucking whipping around and I'm shooting their ass right in the face. Okay, I mean I'm face shotting them. But that's the thing. I can instantly whip around and I'm not worried about that tether and I'm not worried about where it's at. And don't even get me started on 360 Beat Saber because that conversation's for tomorrow. But man, it's like you said, you nailed it. It's reinvigorated the enthusiast in me that was not dead, but it was really lulled to sleep, and it just excites me. So
Yeah, I do from time to time enjoy, playing these types of games, these room scale experiences, these very movement based things. Generally, this happens on my day off of work when I'm not coming home with a sore back and swollen feet. Um, but generally, when I want to play this type of game, I don't even worry about connecting to the computer. I just play standalone. I just grab the thing and put it on. And that's even more so the case now that we have Oculus Quest 2 and we have all of these titles that are being enhanced for it. Now, I just want to say real quickly as a programming note, we are being intentionally hardware specific during this conversation and during today's show. If you want to hear about the games, we're going to be all about the games tomorrow on the Monday show. Normally, we talk about a couple of the games that we played, and then we'll have some topic. Tomorrow, the games are the topic. We're going to talk, and we're going to spend the whole show talking about our experience with the Oculus Quest 2, not only in standalone games, but we're going to talk about it from every angle. We're going to talk about specific games that are standalone games that weren't enhanced. We're going to talk about standalone games that were enhanced for the hardware. And then we're going to talk about tethering the PC, games that we played um, wirelessly and through the Oculus Link. And it's not just going to be about the hardware, but we're going to talk a lot about the games specifically as well. So it's going to be a games extravaganza tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if we talk about 20 or 30 games tomorrow, Roots.
yeah, me too. Actually, there's a lot of games. It's just a lot of games I want to try. Just in the just today. But I wanted to show like the difference of these two controllers side by side as far as like how much space you have on them because I was showing somebody on a stream the other night and like Radio Runt was saying the Quest 2 controller it feels a little bit weird but I mean it's designed to where you've got this thumb rest again, right? Like that was the biggest gripe when Rift S came out in Quest. People said, "Man, I have nowhere to put my thumb. This thing's so narrow." Like I saw Reddit bitching about it, Wes, for like weeks. And now this comes out and people are like, it's too wide. I don't like the way it feels. I want to go back to the Rift S. I want to go back to the Quest. And I just think it's a simple fact that people don't know what they want, Wes. They want what they had before or something different. It's a perfect case of grass is green on the other side of the septic tank, right? Or more green, rather.
What people want, especially on the internet and the social channels, what people want more than anything, especially in 2020, is they want something to criticize,
Yeah.
something to complain about, and especially when you're talking about something that comes from Facebook, that they have plenty of things to criticize there, right?
Yeah. Mamefan says, yeah, he likes girth in his hand. You know who else likes girth in their hand?
My mom!
Awesome, thank you. No, the controllers for me were one of the biggest, pleasant surprises to me. I didn't really have a problem with the Rift S slash Quest One controllers. They were fine. I didn't have this problem like other people with the battery covers coming off in their hands. That never really happened to me. What I did have happen more than a few times is I would accidentally push the menu button,
Mm.
and that's very jarring and immersion breaking when you're, in the heat of gameplay and the menu pops up. Because a lot of the time in a lot of these games, the game just keeps going for a few seconds, and you're just screwed because you're trying to get out of the menu, out of the pass through, and the game's going on, and zombies are killing you or whatever. But I really, 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 really dig these new controllers because they're like the old controllers. They're like the CV1 controllers, and I mean, they feel almost identical to that. They have a good weight to them. The haptics, at least to me, seem to be a little bit more noticeable now, and I really like everything about them.
Yeah, yeah, no, the haptics are perfect. And what's funny is the haptics are even better, but the battery life is phenomenal. Mine's still at 100%, and I've seen posts of people say after weeks it's still at 100. Battery cover's not flying off. And what you said, I didn't even really like put it into full thought, but it's kind of hard to find that menu button, because you're used to accidentally thing. You have to kind of search for it, which is what you want. You don't It shouldn't be easy to hit that thing by accident. It was so bad before that's why they implemented the double tap, because people would hit it and they didn't, you're just like, okay, well, let's figure it out. Like you got to hit it twice to get to it because it's so easy to hit. So I think you're right. I think it feels right. And that was one of the things that baffled me because I was ready for it to be cheap because people were saying, man, these things are cheaper. They fucking shit. They're plastic, whatever. It feels heavier. It feels better made to me than because the Rift S, I feel like if I smack this thing into anything, it's gonna crack. And that's exactly, people were breaking the things all the time. So I think it seems to be better made. So I guess time will tell, right?
Yeah, you know who else will let you double tap it, Roots?
My
Yeah, she's
mom!
very, very lenient, I guess, right? Or willing.
Yeah, I guess in all seriousness, I do have a little bit of a complaint with regards to that, but I'm a bit of a special case here. I do have a bit of an issue finding the menu button on the left controller whenever I need to go into like Steam VR menu or something. But again, I'm a bit of a special case here as I have nerve damage in my left
Oh,
thumb and I only have partial feeling over there. I found it easily on the old uh, Quest controllers because it was right there. You couldn't miss it. You just kind of
mm,
knew where it was at. But now you kind of have to feel around over there to try to find it. And again, I have trouble feeling things with the tip of my thumb there.
yeah.
So again, a complaint, but kind of a specific to me complaint.
Yeah. Well, I guess if your thumb is got dead nerves, you might not like it. But what a bummer, man. Who doesn't want to have good nerves in their thumb? I want to feel it all. It's like half of your VR
Well,
experience, right?
well, let me tell you, man, with what happened to my thumb, I'm lucky, blessed to even have a thumb at all right
Oh,
now. So
yeah.
I could only imagine, dude, just like losing my thumb, and then all of a sudden VR happens, and now I can't play because I don't have a thumb. Can you imagine what hell that would be?
I think losing an eye would be worse.
Oh
Because
yeah, for
you lose your
sure.
3D depth, and I don't think it'd be the same. It would suck.
Gamertag VR says that virtual desktop at 90 hertz in the Oculus Quest 2 is the best thing that he's ever experienced in VR.
Yeah. Well, that's very true. And Gamer Chick says, actually, I guess Paradise Decay wants to know when we're going to go into Phasmophobia with Gamer Chick 13. So we need to solidify that and get into that game because
Hey, I'm down anytime now. Now that I've got access to my PC again, uh, I know the original idea was gamer tags, and he wanted to stream, but he did a stream a couple of days ago. But he's more than welcome. You're more than welcome, GT, or you too, Paradise Decay. Any of you guys that want to experience Phasmophobia for the first time with us, just hit us up on the Discord or Twitter or something, and we'll make it happen. But I'm down. I'm down, Roots, anytime.
yeah, me too. And like I was just telling Wes, I'm a must have it solidified in a time frame person, or else there's too many things going on that I just get pulled in different directions. So
Yeah, that's what Gamertag just said. He said, "What time?" That's like, hey, well, I mean, I've got to work today, but I'm off Mondays, Tuesdays. So you guys figure out what time and let me know, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, so that's visuals, controllers. Let's talk a little bit about the sound here, Roots. Another pleasant surprise for me. My attitude toward the Rift S sound was that it was pretty much trash. It was garbage. It was unusable in my book. The Oculus Quest 1 sound was okay. You could use it in a pinch. I would still probably prefer to use headphones most of the time. But with the Oculus Quest 2, I've been pleasantly surprised because most of the reviews I watch put it on par with the Quest 1. Like there's no difference. And I'm here to tell you that that's not true. It's louder and there's more low end to the frequency than there was with Quest 1. I absolutely find it to be usable on this headset. In fact, more than half of the time that I've used it, I've done so without headphones. So, what's your thought when it comes to sound on Oculus Quest 2?
I'd have to agree. You know, even so much so that I'm sitting across the room, and my daughter at her house is yesterday is playing something, and I can hear the audio perfect. We're watching on the phone, and I don't even need to worry about it because I can hear it. And then I don't know if you experienced this, Wes, but like in games where I'm playing, at different times I felt like vibrations right here from the speakers, right? Because of the bass or whatever it was. And it felt almost like I had sweat, but I hadn't been in that long, and I'm like, well, that's weird. But then it would like it was the audio. The audio was just, I could feel it. So it's definitely better than the last audio, especially the Rift S. I didn't have as much of a problem with Rift S as people that watch me here play Sea of Thieves. I've got supersonic hearing. I can hear water everywhere. But I'm enjoying it. I'm like you. Still have yet to hook up a pair of headphones. I was even going to buy those ones, the ones that I guess Logitech ones, and I ended up not doing it because I enjoyed the audio so much. So
Yeah, the it kind of makes me more excited for my G2 to get here because for the first time with the Oculus Quest 2, I've actually been able to enjoy sound in VR without having things touch my ears, and it does make a difference. Again, I tried it on the previous two headsets, and the sound wasn't good enough, but it is good enough on this one, and I could definitely see myself, with the exception of, I mean, obviously there are games where sound immersion is more prevalent and you're going to want to do everything you can to have optimal sound. I would say, like rhythm games, for example, something with a really banging soundtrack, you're probably going to want to make that sound the best that it possibly can. Um, I would say horror games, something where you're hearing lots of little ambient creaks and knocks and things in the far distance that help to drive your tension level up. I'd say that probably that would be a good use for headphones. But for the vast majority of games, I think that it would be more beneficial to not have something touching your ears. And again, it just makes me look more forward to trying out my G2 because you kind of get the best of both worlds with that.
yeah, that's what people forget. That's one of the reasons why Index and G2 went that direction, right? Is that immersion. You know, like in real life, I'm not walking around with a headset on or headphones. So when you're hearing stuff and you're in there and it's just like real life, you don't feel anything on your ears. That is a form of immersion that people forget, right? And I would agree. Now, I'm assuming you would include Senua's Sacrifice, which you've probably already tried, maybe. You would definitely put headphones on for that, right?
Actually, I kind of liked playing. Yeah, I did try Hellblade, and I kind of liked having those voices in my head
Mm,
come from actually in my head instead of in the from the things that are touching my ears,
yeah.
if that makes any sense. So yeah, no, it was really good. And Drillo says I haven't used the Quest 2, but I have a Quest 1 and used Drift S, and they didn't cut it. And I'm an audiophile. I love booming bass, crisp mids and highs. I would largely agree with what you're saying there, Jarillo. Um, I didn't think that they quite cut it on the other ones either, especially the Rift S. The Quest 1 was borderline. There were applications that I left the headphones off for. What I'm telling you is that this is better than those. Now, is it going to be on your level? Obviously, it's not like having on a pair of Sennheisers or something really nice, but it's better than you think it is. And I would say the same thing to Jim Hall, who says that the audio solution for Oculus is subpar. But again, he's talking about these older headsets. I'm pretty sure Jim didn't buy one of these, right? He hasn't tried it.
No, not yet. He's actually his nephew owns one, and he's gonna try it that way. And it's kind of weird, actually. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Because I'm trying to get Jim Hall to buy one because I know Jim Hall, and he's like he's talked himself out of going down to get it at least 5 times probably. Because he's into tech, right? And his biggest and would be my biggest obstacle as well, is all the terms of service BS, and some people are just not going to put up with it. And I completely understand it and respect it. I'm already, my conundrum, Wes, this is my conundrum. Okay. The terms of service, I say, you know what? That's bullshit. I'm not getting the Quest 2. What do I have left? I'm still in their ecosystem. I got the Rift S. So I have no choice, bro. I got to do something. I could go a different direction, but right now the headset doesn't exist for that direction yet for me. I'm not paying $1,000 for the index. So I need something else to come out that can pull me away from Oculus, save me from their terms of service. Until then, Wes, they got me, man, and they've muzzled me. They've muzzled Roots on Facebook. I won't be putting any posts on there. I don't go on there anyway, but any thoughts of doing that now have been squashed. So
Right. So yeah, I guess this would be a good time to get into that. A lot's been said about the whole change to the ecosystem with regards to Oculus products. Really quickly, first here, I'd like to point out for Frank's in the chat. He says that Lies Beneath sounds really good with headphones, which I agree with. But I want to go ahead and say and let Frank know that one of the games that I'm going to be talking about tomorrow is Kobold Chapter 1. I did play all the way through that. Frank sent me a key to it right around the time I lost access to my PCVR. It was one of the first things I did, Frank, when I got hooked back up, was play through that. And we're going to be talking about that during part of tomorrow's discussion on the Monday show.
Nice. Isn't that on sale right now?
It is. It is $4.
Sweet.
But all right, so we have what I consider to be the biggest negative with this product, and that is the forced integration of your Oculus account with your Facebook account. And I know that for many of us, your Facebook account is kind of a non-existent thing. I didn't use Facebook. I don't use Facebook. I do have an account. Thankfully, I already had an account that I had put together basically to talk to various game developers who aren't on Twitter and don't have like a website. There are a few guys that primarily communicate through Facebook and through Messenger. So that was my main reason for starting my Facebook account. So thankfully, there's less scrutiny on me now, having had an account for a year or two, compared to some of these other people who are trying to sign up fresh now and having all sorts of issues with it. Yeah, a lot's been said about this, and a lot of people are upset about it. And on one hand, I completely understand it.
Yeah. And then on the other hand, it may be much to do about nothing, because almost every single person that's having issues with their accounts, 'cause my biggest fear is they're going to ban me because of what I said or whatever. People are getting banned mostly because they're trying to go around the terms of service. They're creating dummy accounts. They're doing weird stuff. They've created 2-3 accounts. They've created their account, canceled it, created it. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of weirdness around what they've been doing. For the average person that has a Facebook account and just linked it and didn't do any weird shit, you're fine. Does that mean down the road they're not going to pull the same stuff they've been doing in the last year or so with censoring people and maybe ban your account? That's my fear, is that at some point, like people said, you legitimately have a brick, a $300, for me a $400 brick that can't be used by me. I could probably resell it, but I can't get into it. I would put that as like maybe a 3% chance of happening, if not even less. But that concern's there for me. So
Well, for people who share your concern, I really only have one bit of advice, and that is join Twitter. I mean, if you need a forum to talk about politics and religion and current issues, I would not do it on Facebook anymore. You're absolutely right. Uh, as much as it may suck, it is what it is, bro. And don't do it. You know, go do it somewhere else. There's plenty of other avenues available to you for this kind of discourse.
and to be honest, Facebook is dead anyway. Like, aside from knowing what somebody had for breakfast or getting into a repetitive loop of like-minded people that are just going to say the same shit that you said and share the same stuff. And this is my biggest thing, that the biggest gripe I had with Facebook when I used it is, like, nobody researches anything. They just, oh, that this story, they click out, they post it, and it's a lot of times it's not even real. And so everybody's like, it's just a weird place, man. I don't have to worry. Like I said, I wasn't going there to post stuff anymore anyway, but it's just the idea that, like you said, I'm smarter than that, and I'm not gonna. I want my account to work, so I'm gonna just not say anything there. And I think it didn't do any good anyway before.
Right. Yeah. Well, exactly. So my whole take on this Facebook thing, again, I think it sucks that they're making people integrate their accounts, that they're forcing people to do it. I think that it's it's immoral. It's probably illegal as well from an antitrust perspective. Um, and we may see some action on that front at some point in time. With that said, my attitude toward this kind of thing has been the same from the very beginning, and that is, we knew this was going to happen. I mean, it's not anything new. We've known since day one what Facebook was trying to do here. They're in search of our data. They want to log every little piece of information that they can about us, and it's not just Facebook. Every facet of our lives is now, uh, you know, entangled with this digital world that's been constructed around us. And it's not just Facebook, it's Google, it's Amazon, it's all of these mega corporations. They're all tracking everything we do. Every time we make a phone call, every time we search something on the internet, where we go to eat, everything is being tracked. We all have unique data profiles. Um, it's just the way of the world now, and we're far past the point of no return. So as bad as it sucks, it is what it is, and I'm not going to harp on it. So with that said, my general feeling toward Facebook as a company uh, is pretty much a feeling of gratitude. I mean, that's my overwhelming thing that I feel for Facebook, because in spite of all of this crap that they've introduced into the process, the fact still remains that if it wasn't for the billions of dollars that Facebook has invested to make sure that VR becomes a thing, a prominent thing in the world, the platform, the medium that I love so much would probably be dead by now. It probably would have never made it if it weren't for the Facebook subsidy. And you know, facts are what they are. The day that they paid $2 billion to buy Oculus, they were all in at that point, and they've already spent too much money on it to let it fail. So we continue to see them buy up game studios to invest in technologies that are going to be incorporated into tomorrow's products, and I've you know even Quest 2, case in point, is going to do huge things for VR as a whole when it comes to the population in general and the developers. I mean, this is a dream come true for developers. They can finally uh, they finally have a platform that they can make some money and make a living on. It's only going to draw more people in, not only users but developers, and largely this is all due to the investment from Facebook. So to them, I say, uh, what's with the shady shit, guys? But thank you very much.
Well, that's the thing. I think, and you said this to me in private chat earlier today, and I agree. It's weird, Wes, because we can all collectively say, I absolutely want the platform to move forward. I want AAA games. I want everything that comes with it. But there's this group of people, and they don't even know it. Like, I really believe they don't even realize this is their mindset, but they want to hold on to this niche. Like, they don't want the masses to have what they have. They want the AAA games, but they want the niche to still be a niche so they can be like this insider person that knows about VR, but doesn't, the rest of the world doesn't. But it all goes hand in hand. It all comes together like it is with the Facebook putting all that money out, investing all the money, putting out the games, getting it in everybody's hands. And what our next topic we're going to be talking about, the developers, right? Like you said, you just nailed it, man. Like, it's finally becoming viable to make these games, and we've already found that out in week 1, man. Like, they're finding out like right off the bat, oh fuck, man, this is bigger than we thought it was going to be. And we should all be excited, even if you don't want this headset on your face. It's good for you. It's really good for you.
Well, there you go, and that brings us into our next facet. While we're on the negative side of things, we might as well go ahead and dive in here and talk a little bit about the comfort. I would describe this headset out of the box as being more comfortable, noticeably more comfortable than the original Quest was out of the box. With that said, it is still front heavy, and with the stock strap, it does still weigh on your face after a long play session. Uh, but again, with Quest 1 out of the box, I couldn't make it an hour before I had to take the thing off. It was unplayable within an hour. Whereas this thing with the stock strap, I could play for 2+ hours with it, and I only take it off because I'm done playing, not because of the discomfort. Again, of course, it could be more comfortable. It certainly isn't anywhere near the Rift S or the PlayStation VR in terms of comfort. But that said, even with the out of the box jock strap, head strap, it's leaps and bounds above the original Quest in terms of comfort.
Yeah, and it's convenient. That strap is actually really convenient. It's easy to put on. Once you get everything adjusted. It was weird for me because I've never experienced the Quest 1, so I was literally playing for like an hour and a half, and I was like, man, I thought the IPD, because everybody's talking about IPD, and if it's off, you're gonna get headaches or whatever. So I start to get this pressure in my forehead right here, and I'm like, oh God, is the IPD? Maybe I'm on the wrong IPD. And turned out it was the pressure from the thing. I'd never felt the pressure of the weight of it. But like you said, it took an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it was, till I started to feel it. But it was noticeable. And then once I switched out the jock strap, as you put it, to the Elite strap, especially with the battery weight, it was night and day difference. I would say if a Rift S is a 9 in comfort, with the Elite strap and the battery, for me, it's at a 7.5. It's not quite as comfortable as the Rift S, but it is. I mean, I've played 3, 4, 5 hours straight, probably. I don't know, I haven't counted, but it's definitely it's never been an issue so far. So,
Well, the Elite strap is something that I will have to comment on at a later time because, as you can see here, a week in, I'm still rocking with
Mm.
the out of the box strap on
Wow.
it. I haven't even unboxed my Elite strap yet. So we've still got this thing on here, and that should say a little bit about the improvement of it. I
Mm.
mean, if it was that bad, obviously I would have taken it off by now. But that said, there are some negatives associated with this. First of all, uh, my biggest gripe with it is that this strap here is too wide.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to put this thing on properly, it's going to interfere with your ears. The biggest issue I have with this thing isn't the pressure on my face, but rather the fact that there's no good way to put this on your ears. If I was going to leave this on here, I would probably try cutting a notch in this so it could kind of go around my ear. But right now, you have to kind of make a choice of whether or not you want this thing pushing your ears down, or if you want to actually put it over your ears to wear it properly. And it's really a choice between two bad solutions.
Mm. It's funny that you say that, Wes, because I wore that jock strap literally for as long as I had to. I got the Elite strap the next day and I switched it. But I forgot. That was my biggest gripe as well. I even said to you, it digs into your ears, and then if you don't want them to dig into your ears, you have to put it over your ears, and then it's like hanging down a little bit over your ear, and it just feels weird. I agree. I think it's something that if I didn't have the Elite strap, I probably would be cutting some slits in there or doing something. I don't even know what I would do because I don't know what the solution is, but I don't like the width of it either. So
Yeah, and another big complaint I have about this strap, um, whether we're talking about Quest 2 or Quest 1, I think that people underestimate how important it is to have the thing properly fitted. You can feel like you have it on right, but it's really hurting your face and it's really uncomfortable. And a lot of that discomfort has to do with the fact that you're not putting it on correctly. Um, the process to get this strap on just right is much more difficult than it was with the original. With the original, you after you've done it a few times, you pretty much know where the straps have to be set, and uh, and you're in and you're good. With this thing, it's always kind of a feeling out process because you have this elastic, which obviously over time is going to wear out, and you kind of have to pull these things to tighten it down. And if you don't have the strap on the right position, and you tighten these things down, and then you move it into position, you're going to end up having this thing on too tightly, which in turn is going to make your face hurt. Generally speaking, it takes me a lot of fidgeting with this thing to get it in just right. Now, that said, when I get it just right, I'm generally good for a couple hours. But I mean, there's been times where it's taken me, 10 minutes of fiddling with this thing just to get it on correctly. And when we're talking about a product such as this, the object should be to make it more seamless, to get rid of the friction. And I feel like this strap, while the intention may have been to decrease the friction by making it elastic, I feel like it's harder to dial it in, which therefore gives it the opposite effect and actually makes it more difficult to deal with than the previous version.
yeah. Well, it's definitely something that I recommend the Elite strap over the stock strap, even if it's not the battery one. And be careful how you order it. Alex VR is pissed at Best Buy for not holding up their end of the pre-ordered battery strap. I have never in my life seen what I've seen in the last 3 or 4 months with retailers promising stuff and then not just turning around and just not honoring it, just saying, well, you know what, you picked the wrong place, bro. You don't have your strap. And I guess it should make people wonder, like, if you're getting screwed over from Best Buy, Alex, I at some point I might go somewhere else next time and say, you know what, Best Buy fucked me over and I'm not doing that anymore. It's the only way we can really make these companies hold up to their end of the deal, and it could be on Oculus's end. Maybe they overpromised and didn't deliver. I don't know, but Best Buy should be honoring it somehow, some way, making sure you get your headset, your Elite strap, and I'm pissed off for you. That's gonna messed up.
Yeah, yeah, there's a lot of that going around. If you watched the show last week, I was pretty irate with Facebook for not sending my headset on time to the point where I had to go to Walmart and buy another headset just so I could have one to play on my days off before I went back to work. And for those of you who don't know, my headset did come. It came the next day, the one from Oculus, and credit to Oculus, they gave a credit to me. They
Hmm.
sent me a code yesterday or the day before in my email, $20 code for the Oculus store because they delivered my headset a day late. So all is forgiven. Facebook's back on the whitelist again, and I've got $20 to spend on a new Quest game, Roots.
Well, it's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I mean, how pissed off would Alex VR be if he got a coupon in the mail from Best Buy saying, "We're sorry we fucked up. Here's $20." You know what I mean? I mean, granted, you still got your headset the next day, so that kind of takes the sting away as well. I'm assuming he's not getting his strap, or maybe it's delayed. But either way, I think that's a big thing. A company standing behind, and Oculus has been really good about that with me as well. When I've had issues, I've gotten coupons. They just get, here, and you say what you want. Not everybody's doing that, so.
Gamertag says, Scion, who is telling people to put the slider between the set settings because you could damage your headset over time, I imagine. GT, that is Tyrael Wood. Tyrael Wood's telling people to do that.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't. I wouldn't do. You know what's funny, Scion, and I kind of got some razzing from some people when we were playing some VR the other night, saying I was a Oculus fanboy. Because Scion just said that Oculus is buying you off. Now you can't say negative things because you haven't said anything negative about Oculus so far, or this headset, right?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Well, I just talked about how it was uncomfortable and I had problems with the strap, and I talked about how the Facebook integration was bullshit. But besides that, no, not a word.
Yeah, you fanboy. I don't know if I like the product. I'm gonna tell you I like it. I don't care if it's or if I don't like it, I'll tell you as well. It's just funny.
Well,
It's funny that
that's
the
the
same.
thing. Again, there are two types of people and two different approaches to it. There are people like me who generally go in enthusiastic, who just have their experience and then come back here and describe to people what it is, whether there be positives or negatives. And then there are other people who go into it looking for things that they don't like. I generally, admittedly, am an enthusiast. I generally point out the things that I like before I point out the things that I don't like. That said, I always point out the negatives as well. I just don't go looking for them.
Yeah, Scion says he was just teasing, and I get that, Scion. Actually, I was just using that as an reason and excuse to point out that I'm not a fanboy. Don't ever put that title on me. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, I agree, and I don't know. I guess I don't know if there's too much more to say on that, but on the comfort.
Well, I think Gamertag just says it all right here. I completely agree. He says it's hard to have anything negative to say about Oculus after all that they do for VR, but the Facebook shit is the worst thing ever. It really got me done when that happened, and that's exactly how I feel
Ooh.
about it. Is that it sucks, but again, it's not just Facebook; it's the way of the world, and we probably wouldn't be sitting here talking about VR at all if it weren't for the multiple billions of dollars that they've used to subsidize it. So, again, my general attitude toward Facebook as a whole is a feeling of gratitude. So
My feeling is if Facebook VR never bought out Oculus, we might have had a legitimate VR is dead from Linus. Instead, he got embarrassed and it didn't die. So I really feel like we could have been talking about how VR is just a niche product and it's phasing out because nobody's investing. Ask the developers, man. The devs will tell you, dude, like if it wasn't for these AAA titles, man, we'd all be fucked. We'd be as enthusiasts, as developers, they would be going back to flat games. And so I think we definitely need to give Facebook their credit in that respect at the same time saying that their terms of service sucks ass. So
right. Exactly. And another thing, and I guess the last thing on our list here that that we haven't really touched on yet is just the platform in general. Uh, a lot of people who have never tried a Quest don't really know what it's like to get full support from Facebook. If you go into the Oculus Rift Home and then go into the Oculus Quest Home, it's kind of a night and day experience. The difference that the support makes. The Oculus Rift Home is kind of a hub that will launch you into your VR games, whereas the Oculus Quest Home is a hub to the metaverse. I mean, there is uh, just tons of integration with VR video applications like Oculus TV and live events like Oculus Venues. There's social applications. There's all sorts of different things, and there's gaming as well. Maybe you don't want a game. Maybe you want to watch a movie, and you don't want to sit up in your chair with your controllers. Maybe you want to lay down in your bed and say, "Screw the controllers." You can do that. You can put this headset on, lay down in your bed, use your bare hands uh, to make selections, browse the internet, watch a movie, do whatever you want to do in this thing. It really is a night and day difference between this and other VR platforms. It's very content rich and user friendly. And I think that this is an aspect of the Quest platform that really doesn't get enough talk and enough credit. Just how polished and complete and versatile it is as a platform in general.
I was surprised at how easy YouTube was to use as an app, because I've dealt with it being a nightmare in VR on the PC side, and just I've never had the Quest One. It was super easy to use. I don't do Netflix, so I would imagine Netflix. As many people that watch Netflix, that would be such a draw. You just lay down in bed, click on your Netflix app, watch whatever shit programming Netflix puts out these days, and get propaganda thrown down your throat. But either way, like, it's going to be easy to do it, right? So I don't know. Did you try Netflix or?
I did not. I've never done Netflix in VR, which is weird because I know they have a VR application. But I did do YouTube. I watched a bunch of stuff in Oculus TV, and I've done countless of these things over the span of time that I had the Oculus Quest One.
Yeah, it made me. I mean, it made me want to check out the. Told you I saw some amazing 360 footage. It looks like shit if you're not on the right in the right platform in the right way. So I don't know. It just I was blown away with YouTube in general, and it just looks good. So.
Yeah, I didn't hear a lot of what you said there, but I think I got the gist of it. YouTube, as you were praising it, dropped me out, or maybe it was Skype, but I had a good, 5 or 10 seconds there where I was gone, and then I came back.
Did you get
But
you had
yeah,
an update or something? Because I had the same thing pop up. All of a sudden my antivirus was trying to see if it was okay to have Skype come through. Like, I haven't been using it for the last hour and a half.
um,
Weird.
yeah, I didn't have anything pop up. I saw it pop up on your screen, but no, I got nothing on mine.
That's weird.
So yeah, I think that media consumption in this device is a lot improved over the previous generation. Facebook VR as an application in general continues to improve across platforms, no matter which one you actually use it in. And the content's getting better. The technology, the camera technology is getting better. The people are getting better at creating content. I'm going to try, and don't hold me to this. As many of you know, and as I mentioned earlier, this one came from Walmart. It's going back to Walmart. That's why it doesn't have the strap on it. But this Elite strap here, this is sealed, unopened. This Quest 2 here, this is sealed, unopened. The box for this one is actually over there. Um, I have a VR camera. So my intention is, hopefully, if I can fix the tripod mount on my camera, I'm going to try to unbox these things in VR
Hmm.
and put the videos up for you guys if that's something that you're interested in. Tons of unboxing videos out there. I've never really been interested in doing that kind of content, but I personally would enjoy consuming that sort of thing if I could do it up close in 3D VR. So, being as I have the equipment here, I have unopened products here. I'm thinking again, if I can fix my my tripod mount, then I'm going to make some of this stuff. But again, it's not going to be on the level of the content Roots was just describing on YouTube. But people are getting better at it, and the only way that I can get better at it is if I start trying it, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. And what's the better about the this new Quest version of the YouTube app, as somebody was saying in the PC, like you can't type in, you can't scroll. Like this is so easy. Like when you go to watch Wes's 180 video, which he's gonna do, I'm gonna put out there. It's gonna be perfect, the best video I've ever seen. You just click on the 180 and you click on that video, and it fucking opens up, and you're in, dude. Like my experience with YouTube 360 videos, this is the only way on PC I was able to do it. For virtual desktop, I had to download the video, and then you in virtual desktop you can click on that video in a certain way, and that'll pop you into 360. It was very hassle. It was a pain in the ass. It was to the point where I just didn't bother anymore. Now in this new version, I just go in and I'm in YouTube and I just click on it, and now I'm in that experience. They've made it super easy and easy use in this thing. And we didn't even touch on this on the VD. The virtual desktop for wireless PC is just as easy as going in the standalone, man. Once you've opened it, you just click on the game and it pops you in. So the ease of use is even easier than the PC version when I'm streaming it wirelessly. So there, I mean, it's good.
Gamertag VR asking here if the Apex construct, if I could tell a difference in it on Quest 2, and absolutely I could. The difference was pretty substantial actually. Um, there there was absolutely no foveated rendering. Where used to you could see very clearly the straight lines. Also, any aliasing, any shimmer that was in the older Quest version was gone. It was absolutely clean. My impressions of Apex Construct on Quest 1 was that it was a faithful port. They very much nailed the feel of the game, but I wouldn't put it on the level of PlayStation VR version of Apex Construct. My attitude toward the Quest 2 version of Apex Construct was that I would probably prefer playing it on Quest 2 to playing it on PlayStation VR. But again, we're going to talk more about that tomorrow on the Monday show. It's one of the games that we have listed to discuss.
Yep.
He also asked if I played it and then patched it and then played it again. No, I got rid of my Quest, like my original Quest. I sold it the day they announced Quest 2. So I haven't actually had the old version here for a while, but I played it enough to know the difference.
Yeah.
So,
Well, PD makes a good point. He said Cosmo showed him how bad an experience bad tracking can be. And I just say that because I like to throw Cosmos under the bus anytime I can. But really, that's the thing, and that's why the tracking's so good on these headsets. I can't tell a difference between that and the CV1. I never have hitches. I couldn't say that when Rift S first dropped. There was a little bit of weirdness, but like I said, they've updated it. They've perfected it over the last year and a half. And even though the Quest 2 has one less camera than the Rift S, I don't notice a difference, which I don't know how the hell they do that magic. So,
Drillo and GT are both saying the same thing, and it's basically the gist of it is, wouldn't the cleaner look come naturally from the hardware? Maybe the aliasing would, but the foveated rendering absolutely wouldn't. It was fixed foveated rendering in the original one, and it was pretty heavy. You had a very defined box uh, in the original one where you could see clearly in the middle, but all around the edges it was kind of fuzzy and blurry. That was implemented through the code from the developer, and that very noticeably has been removed by the developer. It's in the patch notes, and again, it's very noticeable once you get into the game.
Cool.
But we need to move on, Roots, because we have talked a long time about this thing, and we've got a whole show here left to do, and about 30 minutes left to do it in before I got to go to work. So we might have to skip a subject or two like we have done a few times in the past. But really quickly, um, your final verdict on Quest 2 as a product. My uh, my thoughts on it are obviously there are more premium PC VR experiences out there, uh, namely ones that I haven't tried yet, to be quite honest. As far for my money, this has been the best PC VR experience that I've had. Uh, Again, I concede that there are probably better ones out there. What I will not concede, though, is that there's a better more versatile, better all around platform in VR, better, more all around product in VR right now than Quest 2. Uh, what it lacks in one area, it makes up for in others. And as I mentioned at the start of our talk, there's something here for everyone. And while it might not be a 10 out of 10 when it comes to, say, comfort, there are other things like the ability to use it wirelessly for Roots, or the ability to take it with you for me, uh, or the wide variety of content that's available on the platform, non-gaming content, or the support, or the ease of use. There's a lot of things going on here, so it's easily the most well-rounded product in VR, and the best that I've tried to date. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I agree. I would have to agree with everything there. It's definitely for me been the best headset I've used, and I would agree. It's the overall well-rounded. Does it have the best sound? No, it doesn't have the best. I guess he probably has the best visual screen right now until Reverb releases, right? But it doesn't have the best of almost anything. But what it does have is the best versatility, and even things like myself. Like I didn't think that the standalone would be the draw or part of a draw. But taking it to my daughter's house was really cool last night. Everybody really loved it, and it's given me a chance to experience VR in an environment that's not my room. For 2 years, it's been right here. If it's not right here, it's nowhere. And so now I have that option to go to other places, even just downstairs in my living room, and experience the VR in a way that I couldn't do just a week and a half ago. So yeah, I definitely would say it's an amazing headset. It's not for everybody. And that's another thing we didn't touch on, man. I keep hearing from people saying, well, it's about the enthusiasts, this is never going to make the enthusiast happy. Well, I hate to break this to the enthusiasts, myself being one of them. Not everything's about us, bro. You know what I mean? We're not the end all of everything. There's other people out there that are coming into the masses that'll never be enthusiasts. The enthusiasts have their shit. They got the index. We'll have the reverb. You'll have your high priced headsets. Great. Enthuse your ass off. Just don't shit all over the person coming into VR. This is the best thing they've ever seen, but now they're finding out that this is a Quest poo shit, man. It's like all plastic and shitty parts and discounting everything good about it. So
Yeah, I would encourage people to not trash it too hard until they've tried it, because at the end of the day, um, sure, I mean, there's a lot of nice bells and whistles on these high-end PC uh, things, but high-end PC platforms. But again, this one, unlike the first iteration of the Quest, is nothing to sneeze at. It's the highest resolution consumer-facing headset on the market, and it also happens to be the lowest cost headset on the market. So I think Facebook deserves a lot of credit here for what they've put forward, and for all of the benefits that us as consumers have gotten from the platform, I think that the biggest benefits are apparently coming to those who have kept the platform afloat all these years, and I'm talking about the developers. I mean, these guys have been slaving away for years, eating beans and rice, rice and beans, and starving so that they can bring us VR games in the hopes that one day that they're able to build this platform to a point that they can make some money and make a living off of it. And the first week of Oculus Quest 2 as a platform is proving to be a bit of a payoff for quite a few of these developers, and we've got some statistics and figures here that point just this out. Um, First of all, Rec Room developer Sean Whiting has reported that Quest 2's launch appears to be about 2.5 times the size of the Quest 1 launch, based on the numbers at Rec Room. The number of Quest 2 concurrent players crossed above the Quest 1 concurrent players on the charts at 7 p.m. On launch day. So it didn't take very long at all. By 7 p.m. that day, there were more Quest 2 players in the Rec Room than there were Quest 1 players.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was reading. I agree. I was reading what Gamertag was saying, asking if Gamerchick was a developer. Yeah, Skydance Interactive. You ever heard of Saints and Sinners? Amazing game, by the way. I know we're going to be talking about that a little bit tomorrow. Probably be a small smidge of our conversation, but
yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Fast Travel Games. Andreas Julison, friend of the channel, by the way. You know, we deal with a lot of developers, but there's a handful of them I would consider friends. Fast Travel Games and Mr. Julison, I would consider to be one of our friends. He talked a little bit about the immediate impact of Quest 2. On its launch day, unit sales for Apex Construct and The Curious Tale of the Stolen Pets were up 800% versus the day before. And I assume many of you, like me, have not yet received their headsets. First signs are very encouraging for us developers.
Yeah.
So there you go again, Roots. Another one, VR exclusive studio who've been in it from the very get-go, finally getting some payoff thanks to this platform.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's because how many people are buying coming into VR and they want to try some games out, right? And they've got good games. So I don't know. I just think it's good for everybody. You know, as these
a lot of the the hardcore VR, PC VR enthusiasts kind of shudder at the idea of having casuals in the space, where, my opinion is that we want just the opposite. We want to be outnumbered by casuals 100-1, because it's their money that we need. We need their money in our ecosystem so that it can be viable for the developers. And what's going to happen with that is we're going to find that rising tides raise all ships, and we're going to end up getting some amazing games out of the deal as the larger studios continue to jump in the race.
Oh, that's what's funny. Everybody's so worried about Oculus and them not funding big games anymore. Like, there's no other big game companies out there that are going to see the success of the Quest 2 and think, oh shit, man, we need to get on this board. I mean, it's already happening. It was happening last year. You know, we have all these AAA titles that are in the work with promises a new one. Like, we don't even know what the hell Rockstar, that branch off, is making, that open world game. I mean, it could be GTA 6 for all we know. I just think that, like you said, everything is going to rise with this. You know, all these developers are doing well. And then the good ones that are selling these games, they're going to take that money, and guess what they're going to do? They're going to invest it in another good game, and they're going to become better at what they're doing. And it's just it's only better from here.
Absolutely. I think that this is again, we heard similar stories to this when Quest 1 launched. Everybody was over the moon happy about the sales bump. And this is what exponential growth looks like. When people ask me about what I think about the growth in VR, how would I describe it? I always describe it the same way, exponential. And if anybody has have ever seen an exponential curve on a graph before, it always starts off rising very slowly, but over time, the more it raises, the faster it raises. And this is what exponential growth looks like. Um, my dearest incorporated CEO is claiming that Tokyo Chronos is seeing a 10 times increase in sales on the Oculus Quest 2 launch day. Denny Unger from Cloudhead Games, he says, quote, we are very happy to report that we have seen a 10 times increase in pistol whip sales since the launch of Quest 2. This is an incredible sign for the VR industry in general. Congrats, Oculus. It's been a long road to get here, but it feels like we're finally coming home.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how I would say it.
Alden Dynamics CEO Hrafen Thoresen also reports tenfold sales increase for Waltz of the Wizard. Tommy Palm from Resolution Games, quote, the Quest 2 is having a positive impact on the VR industry and makes us very optimistic. We have seen a 500% increase Monday and Tuesday in downloads across our 5 paid titles on the platform. Other titles reporting huge increases are Cubism, Dread Halls, even SideQuest, Hand Physics Lab, and Deism. Meanwhile, Roots, in related news, the Valve Index backorder queue has significantly decreased over the last couple of weeks.
Well, that's good. That's good for anybody that wants one of those, right?
Yeah, apparently, they must have filled a lot of orders last week because apparently it went down from like a 6-week queue to a 2-week queue overnight.
Wow. Yeah, well, there might have been a couple of cancellations in there. A few, maybe. I don't know.
How dare you, sir?
Yeah, how dare you? Oh, that's not even the right button. There we go.
How dare you?
There's the how dare you. That's my muting Roots' filthy mouth button. Never happens. I never ends up getting pushed.
Anyway, the moral of the story is that as awesome as Quest 2 has been for us consumers, us enthusiasts, it's even more so of a big deal for developers. And again, much like we said about Facebook earlier, if it weren't for these people, VR would be dead. They're the ones who stuck it out, who gave us stuff to play when it wasn't profitable, and we owe them an eternal debt of gratitude. So even if you can't get on board with the standalone platform and you're hardcore PC through and through, bro, you got to feel good for these developers who are finally seeing some benefit from all of their hard work. So
yeah, you're missing
kudos.
out. You're missing out on the wireless, man. I'm telling you, it's groundbreaking. So
yeah, well, I would agree so, and I would say that the standalone is as well. But we're going to talk about that tomorrow. We need to move on, Roots, because time is ticking away. I do want to talk quickly about Death Unchained. It's a game that we've spoken a lot about on this channel. A game that I absolutely loved on Quest 1, and we did an episode this past Monday that listed all of the games that we know of that are having Oculus Quest 2 enhancements, which means that the Oculus Quest 2 version much better than the Oculus Quest 1 version. Absent from that list is In Death Unchained, which I found to be a bit surprising because I know what a great job that Superbright has done on this title. I would venture to say that the Quest version of In Death is superior to the PC version, even though the PC version obviously has better looking graphics. There is content on the Quest version that is exclusive to the Quest version, and it plays awesome.
I was gonna say you bite your filthy tongue, man. It doesn't have my shard on there. I'm so wrapped up in that shard.
The shard operates very differently on this version.
Yeah, and I will talk a little bit more about this tomorrow. But ironically, there's a difference in the mapping of in-depth PC if you're playing linked and if you're playing wireless, because my shard was on a different button, and I have no idea why. And I guess we'll find out tomorrow. but weird.
Yeah, absolutely. But we have just found out via a new press release from Super Bright that that they are indeed working on Oculus Quest 2 modifications that are going to be released soon. The press release states that the game was developed using a quote heavily modified Unreal Engine, and the Quest 2 version will soon have special upgrades and optimization, which are just not possible on the Quest 1 hardware. The update is said to bring many improvements, including sharper visuals, increased comfort, and smoother gameplay. The update will also allow Quest 2 to render the whole world at once, dramatically improving the draw distance. This is one of the biggest differences, Roots, that I've noticed visually about the game is there's much more fog.
Hmm.
When you play it on PC, you can see a lot farther the world that you're getting ready to traverse. Whereas on the Quest version, you can only see, I don't know, 300 feet in front of you. And then after that, everything gets foggy. So apparently, this is all about to change with the coming update to In Death Unchained on the Oculus Quest 2.
Ah, cool. I can't wait to see. I'm torn, Wes. I enjoy In Death? Do I buy this again? I mean, okay. Let me rephrase this. I will rebuy it. I do, but I'm gonna wait for a sale. I think because I already have the other version. There's certain games that I want to play that I want to own, but I'm reluctant to pay full price because I've already owned it and I already can play it now. It's not like I'm missing too much. But this
Right,
is
and you
one I
can
want
play
to
it
buy.
wireless too.
And I can play it wireless. So, and I could do it downstairs from my experience as well if I want. So,
Right, absolutely. Yeah, so I totally get that. This is the same kind of conundrum that I find myself in because there are titles in the Quest catalog that I absolutely would love to play standalone, just to see how they are. But I can always play them wirelessly by tethering to my PC already. So obviously they're not going to be as good. So why should I dish out all this money to buy them again? The reason why is because I want to see them, see the standalone version. So titles like Red Matter, Res Infinite, this is stuff I want to play on my Quest, but I can already. So it's kind of a catch 22.
yeah. Well, I sent you a request to play your Res Infinite yesterday in the email. So I can't play it yet, but I will be soon. But yeah, no, I completely understand what you're saying. And I guess I've got to buy this game. Gamertag says it's hands down. Well, he didn't say I'm adding the hands down, but he says the Quest version is better than the PC version. So I
Yeah.
might have to pick this one up for sure.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I mean, the PC version I thought was okay. It wasn't enough to hook me
Mm.
into playing it more than a couple times. This Quest version had me hooked for weeks. I was playing it every day. So I mean that says it all, right?
Yeah. Yeah, wireless, man. In-depth wireless. How could I ever play it tethered again?
Yeah, and this developer super impressive with the way that they've supported this game. That they've continually added to it and made it better. And in fact, this update, this quality of life update for Quest 2 is not the only thing that they're working on.
Mm.
They're also working on new DLC that's coming out in November. So next month we're going to get even more Quest exclusive content to this game.
Wow. And this is one of the things that people forget about. I guess us as enthusiasts, because we've been around VR so well. Bow and arrow is so good in VR, right? People love bow and arrow. This game is like one of the best bow and arrow games. And I think that's why it does so well as well. It's probably one of the best versions of using a bow and arrow that I can say, hands down. Now you use the crossbow. I'm not much of a crossbow person. I got to do the
Well, that was the
physical.
thing on the PC version. I used the crossbow, but when I played it on Quest, I prefer the bow, and
Oh,
I've only used the crossbow once or twice out of all the hours I put into it on Quest.
how many times in a session happens to me a lot? you turn a corner or something happens, you hear a little bit of noise, and especially now that it's wireless, I whip around and there's a fucking dude right in my face, and you're like, oh my god. Like, talk about jump scares, man. Those guys are up on you real quick. So
Yeah, they hide those zombies too, like in the corners, so that like you kind of they're there, but you don't know where they're at, and then you go around the corner. Oh, there they are, right in my face.
yeah.
But generally, my approach to this game thus far has been my approach to most first-person shooter games, and I fight from a distance. I'm looking for long-range, precision headshots. I'll try to draw as many out as I can, so I don't have to engage in long-range combat or short-range combat rather,
Yeah.
which is a bigger risk, obviously.
Yeah. And F. Frank just made a comment. It really made, I guess I saw it from Radio Run, and I did with Audica. He recommended setting up the graphics like that. You can tweak things graphically on the standalones, but you can also put it to 90 hertz. And a game like Audica needs to have full. I mean, at 90 hertz, it was indistinguishable to me. So.
Yeah, that's something that I have yet to tinker with as well. I have not forced 90 hertz mode. I've been playing at native 72 since I've got the thing. So lots left to do. Again, I only had one day off that I could actually play with the thing, and half of that my kids had it. So tomorrow, the next day, is really going to be my first real opportunity to deep dive on it, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yep. Yeah, and Greg's VR says you're like the zombie in so many words. You're hiding in bushes and around corners, and then you take them out.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
You got to do what you got to do when you're in there with those seasoned veterans that have got 100 hours in on contractors. The best thing I can do on my third time in the game is hide, right?
Yeah. Well, you can sneak up on people, man. I love it.
Yeah. I just need to learn some knife skills from Scion, and I'll be fucking dangerous, man.
Yeah, dude, he is the best sniping person ever. I mean, not sniping, knifing person ever, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so the clock's ticking down, Roots. I'm going to let's skip to the last game on the list here, item number 6. I do want to touch on this really quickly because it's the only new game announcement we had this week, and it was for a game called Flow Weaver, and it was announced this past week from independent developer Stitch Media that its latest title is a magical VR puzzler titled Flow Weaver, due for release in early 2021. Being built for Oculus headsets, Flow Weaver will be a multi-dimensional escape room where you play a wizard being held captive at a mysterious location. You need to use your magical powers to escape, learning new spells to move between worlds. So, Roots, this game actually came onto my radar. Um, VR Focus did an article on it, which is kind of what we're summarizing here with our show notes. But I actually found out about this game through a key distributor that I just joined called Terminals. And I joined Terminals to try to get a key for another game. And in the process, I discovered Flow Weaver here, and I thought that it looked awesome. So I wanted to add it into the show, and then I ended up finding out that VR Focus had done an article on it. What did you think about the trailer here?
Yeah, it looks really cool. I mean, I think they haven't really talked or done dimensions like in these kind of puzzle games, right? Transferring between dimensions. I think it could be really cool. I like the premise. I want to be a wizard trapped in the castle, and I want to break free, and I want to go after those people that locked me up, Wes. I want to put some magic spells on them and watch them in pain. But no, it looks really good.
Yeah, man, I felt the same way. I felt that the idea here of dimension hopping as a way to deal with an escape room is a pretty unique idea. And then when you put in the puzzle aspect and the magical aspect, which appears from the trailer to be gesture based, it seems to be a very original recipe for a VR puzzler. And original is something that we often strive to find. It's harder to find than it is, these cookie cutter games. So it looks very original. I would agree with that, and it looks very good from a quality standpoint as well.
Yeah, and it's puzzle game. You know, who doesn't love puzzle game? Well, I'm not a big fan of them, but I know you are. I like them if they're good ones. But some of the other ones that everybody raves about, like, it depends on the puzzle as well. Because I need to go back into Shadowpoint West because people rave about it. I didn't like the puzzles very much.
You didn't like Shadow Point? I thought it was awesome.
It's okay. I mean, it's got Patrick Stewart, and I know the story's good. And you know, I didn't feel like Resident Evil 7's light puzzle was the end all of puzzles, and didn't want to have a game wrapped around that entire thing.
These are, to be fair, are a lot more complex than the ones in RA7.
Yeah, I'm sure. And then maybe that's my problem. But I haven't played it very much. I only played a little bit. I do own it. I own it on both platforms since it's cross-buy. So I really should get back into it. So
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that. Chris Richardson asked, is this using hand tracking? We don't know at this point. Details are limited, Chris, but what we do know is that this game, at least at launch, is going to be exclusive to Oculus platforms. So it's very much a possibility. If this is on Quest 2, it absolutely could have hand tracking. Obviously, we'll keep you up to date with those details as they become available.
I'd be surprised if it doesn't. I mean, obviously it's more work, but like I realized just by going into the store of the Quest 2, I'm looking at this column. I'm looking in there for hand tracking games because that's a technology. I have new technology I have. And so if you've got something that you can tout that says, hey, this is the new technology and we support it, I think from a developer standpoint, it makes your game more viable, you know? I mean, and it's a perfect game for it. You know, you're a wizard and you're doing magic and stuff. So hopefully it will. That'd be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. But we got a quote here from the developer talking about the game and the gameplay. Quote, the primary gameplay centers around transitioning between your cell and different dimensions, or flows, as we call them, as you discover them. Learning how each flow affects the world in different ways, explains Stitch Media. The player uses those differences to solve puzzles and challenges, learn new skills or spells, and uncover new objects or new puzzles. The game is said to provide 5 to 10 hours of gameplay with fully voice acted dialogue and various paths to explore for alternate endings. Flowweaver will only support Oculus platforms when it launches in 2021, but the developer seems open to the possibility of expanding to other platforms at a later date. So 5 to 10 hours here, Roots, of puzzling goodness, kind of, abbreviated, to be quite honest, for a puzzle title, but that isn't always necessarily a bad thing. But cool interactions with the world. The developer describing a game in which traveling to other dimensions will change your current one, and learning how those changes occur is incorporated into the puzzles themselves.
Yeah, well, sounds amazing. I mean, everything about it, you know, and I would argue 5 to 10 hours, you know, like this is the conundrum, Wes, and I don't know if it's VR or maybe it was Asgard's Wrath, the way that it just, I guess people just stop playing, man. Like at some point, games can be too long. You know what I mean? Like people don't believe it can happen, but you can have a game and people get halfway through. What a horrible thing to say about your game. To say, well, the average person made it halfway through my game and stopped playing. That says something about the game. And I don't know if it's the length or if the prison level broke it or what happened, but I haven't finished it. You haven't finished it. Most people I know haven't finished it. But then they say 5 to 10 hours is not long enough. I just think it's weird. People have a weird idea of what makes a game a success, and sometimes being longer isn't better. So
guess who would disagree with that, Roots?
My mom!
I had a feeling she was going to disagree with that wholeheartedly.
Oh, brother. Okay. With that said, friends, Flow Weaver looks awesome. We're just now learning about this. As we learn more from the VR media and directly from the developer, hopefully, I've tried to start a line of dialogue with them. Uh, we will pass it along to you folks. But we are out of time, folks. Have you ever watched What's Up with That Roots on Saturday Night Live? And they always get started, and as soon as they get started, we out of time.
No, I
That's how
haven't.
I feel like I'm getting to be on this show. I have this big, awesome, epic 3 hour show that I try to cram into 2 hours every week.
Well, that's good because whenever we go over too much past 2 hours, then I've got to break the episodes into half to make it onto Anchor because it becomes too big. So anytime we can avoid that, that makes me happy because that's more work.
Right.
So.
We try to streamline it. We're the Oculus Quest of VR podcasts. We try to streamline it and take the friction out, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, for those of you who tuned in to get our thoughts on Boneworks and Lone Echo, I apologize. I'll try to touch on these stories maybe tomorrow during the Monday show. If not, I will post links to the articles that they were derived from on the Discord. The basic gist of it, we were going to talk a little bit about Lone Echo apparently being further delayed, not officially, but it appears like it might be next year before we get Lone Echo 2. And then we got some words this week from the Boneworks developers about Oculus Quest 2 and their plans on it. Apparently, the Quest exclusive game isn't going to be so exclusive anymore. They're going to bring that to Steam. And we've also heard some rumblings about a straight port of Boneworks proper into Oculus Quest 2. And we were going to talk a little bit about that. So maybe we'll get to that tomorrow on the Monday show. If not, there's an invitation to our Discord in the description down below. I'll post links to the articles that I'm referring to on the VR related news area of our Discord channel. And for those of you who are bummed out that we're not going to get to the free stuff and killer deals for the week, I will also post the free stuff and killer deals in the VR bargain bin section of our Discord channel.
Absolutely.
As well.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of them.
So there's the alarm telling me to get the hell off of the show. So with that said, friends, if you're new to the channel, again, please consider subscribing. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Give us those clicks is basically what I'm trying to say. We need clicks. I'm a growing boy, and my food that I need to become big and strong like Roots here is clicks. So give us all the clicks. Click the red thing, click the bell, click the fist, whether it be this one or this one. Join the community. Let's talk about it some more on Discord. And what else? Patreon. Oh, patrons. We absolutely are. We're publishing a new episode of The Money Show on probably Tuesday or Wednesday this week. So be on the lookout for that. It absolutely is coming. I've got PCVR back, so we can do that again. So a new Money Show this week. For those of you who want to follow us, you can do so, or support us rather. You can do so for as little as $3 per month. As always, you can get access to the Money Show, get access to our weekly show notes, and so on and so forth. We appreciate you all.
Yep. Ray Pope wants to know what we need for 1,000 for super chat. That's 1,000 is what you need to get to that point. We're close. 818. We just need 82 more. All right.
Yeah, and what we really could use from you guys is I know you all have social medias. I don't always have time to promote, and a lot of people frown upon self-promotion anyway. So if you guys could just share the shows on Twitter, on Reddit, Facebook, whatever you use, that would be a big help. That would get us some new eyes on our channel and get our subscriber number up. And then we can become partners and have super chats and do all the cool stuff that's associated with that.
Yep.
Anyway, going to be late for work, friends. With that said, we'd like to thank you all once again for watching. For Roots, I'm Wes. We'll see you tomorrow, friends. Bye-bye.